So I'm practicing implicit grant type.
Okay.
In that application, auth clients
Mm-hmm.
and then implicit client.
Mm-hmm.
So confidential is the redirection URL and the scope is right.
Okay.
And go to advanced. Advanced we have added here implicit type.
Okay.
So here any I need to add implicit or something like that.
No,
No.
it's fine. So yeah, the
Oh,
core
fine, right?
token is all present. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, and then I will save the changes.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I am testing here, um, implicit invalid client authentication failed.
Invalid client. So what is your URL? Can you show me your URL? Yeah. Client authentication is getting failed.
Client
Localhost.
ID implicit client scope is
Mhm.
equal, scope equal to right.
Okay, so you're giving a response type token, redirect URI is this one, that's fine. Client ID you are giving. Okay, so go back, try to hit again. It is your client authentication is failed. Okay, can you, with which client you're trying to, I mean, not client ID, with which user you're trying to access?
Mm, before I am axing, it's getting an issue, right, Pranay? Before I am
I
axing,
guess the user is not getting authenticated before. Try again, yeah,
yeah,
hit.
yeah. Just I hit it, it's getting an client authentication failed. Valid client.
Can you try to log in once, okay, implicit client, right? Show me your client ID again.
Client ID.
Yeah,
This is right.
that's fine. Yeah,
Implicit client.
yeah. So, but it's not asking. You are already logged in, right? Can you go to where you're hitting that URL? Go to that URL once.
Notepad plus plus.
Uh, yeah, here you're trying to authorize redirect URI. Yeah, everything looks fine. Auth to authorize Rajiv visualive.jsp client. And where you're trying to hit that URL, can you just try to log in with any other user? Go back.
Okay.
Hmm,
Okay. Other user.
yeah.
Um, other
Or
user.
AIM admin user also fine. Do here once. After one more tab, take one more tab. Try here in this same. Yeah. And then in this same. Yeah. Try it. Let's hit it. Not your
Yes. Yes.
full. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I think client authentication filter means the client this client even not able to authenticate with your user somehow. So implicit client and subject client. Go to
So
yeah. Go to the first one again. Or the service is auth provider is there, right?
yes. Yes. Auth to provider. In
Hmm.
auth to provider.
That's fine. That's fine. Go to advanced
Advanced.
tab.
In advanced.
Um,
mm,
scroll down here is
yeah,
implicit also there. Yeah,
yeah.
that's fine. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, go back to your client once. Yeah.
Client. Okay. Yep.
And open your implicit client.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll down. Yeah.
Client type is there any confidential only, right?
Yeah, client type confidential. So go to advanced tab once again. Yeah. Hmm. Response type you have, authorization code you have. Token, what's the token endpoint authentication? You scroll down, client secret, that's fine. Subject type, yeah, everything looks fine. You are getting issue with this client or with
Yes, yes, this client only.
only this client only? Okay. Subject type public. Scroll down. Scroll
Yeah,
down once again. Yeah. Implicit client. Okay. I guess you are created in contractor. Okay, go back to your URL. This is
URL, right?
your contractor realm. Are you using contractor realm? No, I guess, right? So you have to change the realm. So in Rajiv slash that contractor realm you have to give. So see, you have created your client in contractor realm, but you are trying to hit with the
Uh, got
root
your
realm.
point. Yes, 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 Pranay, got your point. Where can I change here?
Here, I guess, after 801 slash Rajiv,
Mm-hmm.
right? So here, I guess we need to update the contractor realm. So here slash Rajiv slash uh, contractor, yeah, slash auth 2, yeah. After this one, yeah, contractor slash, yeah, and try now.
Mostly this is the issue, Pranay.
Yeah, I guess this would be the issue. No worries.
Page
Uh,
not found.
So here I give you need to create a user client. So basically, first with the URL for the authorize. Mm, Let me fetch the to change the URL.
But
Mm,
these identities are
Now you're in contractor, no? So you need to update the URL. So for that, okay, go back to your URL once. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, Rajiv, auth to contractor. After auth to, yeah, slash realms,
Slash.
slash realm, REALMS, yeah, REALMS slash slash root ROOT slash realms again, and then contractor slash contractor slash then yeah slash, that's it. Remove the contractor from there after Rajiv. Slash contractor, remove from after Rajiv. Hmm. Now try again. Now give user, yeah, but this user should be present in your this LM.
This contractor or
Means if this user
identity.
is, yeah, if this user is present in contractor, then fine. Otherwise, we need to take another user.
This.
Yeah. Click now. So yeah, so you are getting access token now.
Okay. In top realm, I have created, I think, these identities.
Yeah,
So
it worked
can I use,
along.
right?
Yeah, check in your contractor once. Where identities in your contractor in.
Yeah, these are
Yeah, these
identities.
already identities are present, right? So yeah, that's
In
fine.
top realm also same identities, right?
Mm, yes, I guess.
Identity same, right?
Yeah,
Any,
identities could remain same, I guess. Yeah,
yeah.
if we create, so it could. So it will be the means the because the identity would remain same because the database would be same for all the realm, right? So
Yeah,
we can.
that's what yeah, correct.
Yeah, good. Good, you practice that. Okay.
And also hybrid also
Okay, show me a hybrid one. Yeah.
hybrid one is the 2020, right? 20 underscore ID token, right?
Yeah. Percent 20 ID token, correct.
I'll take this one and then mm, response type. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Valid client failed. So
Auth 2 realms root realms contractor referral redirect URI NTP localhost Rajiv or 2 realm root realm contractor response type code percent ID token redirect URI that's looking fine.
so I need to add anything here.
A client ID, what's your client ID?
Client ID. Yeah.
But now this is you're trying in your top realm.
Uh,
So the URL would be okay in contractor. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. So
basic.
refresh client is not there in contractor. So either you need to create or you can use the implicit client. Yeah.
Implicit client, okay, but hybrid client and refresh token both are same or
What do you mean hybrid? I don't get your question. So refresh
hybrid
to.
client?
Hmm. So hybrid client is like where you can get the multiple token values like authorization code or ID token, right?
Okay.
Refresh token is a part of the access token where
This
when we
is
get the access token or we want to refresh the access token, right?
yeah.
So for refreshing the access token, we use the refresh token. So when we get the access token, we'll get the refresh token as well. So once we can use that existing refresh token to get the new access token. So that was the purpose of the refresh token.
How to test the hybrid client here? Can I
Hybrid
click?
client, yeah, here go to the implicit client, click on that.
Okay.
I guess it's already settled. Go to advanced. So you have already have authorization code and implicit, right? So and code and ID token is already there. It's fine. You don't need to add anything right now. So code and ID token is there in second line. See, code and ID token is already there, right?
Yep.
Okay. So basically, if you do in for a client for any project purpose, then you need to remove all this response type and you need to keep only those which are required, right? So these are already present by default by the Forgerock, but here we are testing it. That's fine. Then we can keep it as much as you want. But in original client for any project purpose, so we need to remove all this response type and we keep only those response type which are required. But you can keep it here for your testing. So code we have already have a grant type 2, right? So we can this is already has a setting as a hybrid because we can get the authorization code and the implicit, right? And in
Yep.
response type we should have code or ID token, right? For this one, authorization for code, implicit for ID token. So code and ID token is there, and now go to your URL and add change your client to the implicit client
Mm,
from refresh client to yeah implicit client. Yeah, so you got the code and you got the ID token both.
Yeah, okay. This is hybrid, right?
So this is the hybrid token. Yeah.
Okay, right. Thank you, Pranay. Go ahead. Tomorrow I will, if any, I will tomorrow will discuss.
Yeah. Now that is, yeah. Okay.
A little bit I understand right now what is the implicit client, what is the authorization code, and what is the hybrid client. Next I will practice and
Okay,
then I will
sure,
let you know.
sure. So I'll do one thing. So I haven't give you the updated notes, right, PPT, right? So I'll give you the after class. I'll share with the team.
Okay,
Then they will share with their latest PPT. So you
sure,
familiar
sure.
with
And
that.
yeah, yeah, and also please share me interview questions also.
Yeah, yeah, I'll sure share. I'm just working on it, so I'll share you a couple of
Sure,
emails.
sure, sure. Yeah, thank you.
Read list. Okay. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So today we have to discuss the SAML one. So security assertion markup language. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with the introduction. So what's actually it is. So basically, if so first definition is SAML, we call this full form is security assertion markup language, right? So here, what the purpose of it one? So it's a standard that we that with the help of SAML, so we are able to access the multiple services, or you can say multiple applications with a single set of credentials. Okay. So, like in your company, like you are able to log in with the Windows one, right? Then you have the or multiple login with your email ID or something. Then you will have access to. Then you can access multiple companies' URL, right? Learning URL portal or timesheet portal or any other portal, feedback portal or year-end one, and like multiple like that. So there's many. So then for them, you don't need to go for them. There's a different applications, right? So yeah, so we started discussing the SAML. So yeah, so I was telling the example. So where in organization we use this concept, right? So whenever you log in your system in your company, right? So you will be can be redirected to the multiple applications, your timesheet, your learning portal, or your feedback portal, or um, yeah, your teams, right? So you don't have to every time give your credentials, right? Use a username or password. So, and because at the back end, they all are different applications. So, how you will able to get access of all these applications without authenticating again and again, right? So that's where with this SAML comes in picture. So, security assertion markup language. So here then they introduce the SAML like that. So where you able to access the multiple applications with your credentials. So we discuss how we can set up a SAML, how the Forgerock can create this SAML application, can make any applications to a single sign-on. Right? So single sign-on is a concept in the SAML. Okay, so we'll discuss. So single sign-on is basically uh, a sign-on, so ability for a user to authenticate but gain access to multiple applications. That what we have called a single sign-on. And what the SAML do? SAML is do all these things. So SAML security assertion markup language is do all these things like with interact with the service provider, interact with the IDP. I'll discuss in detail. So where this comes in, right? So how? So here first, if you see the diagram, I'll create one more diagram like we were used in OIDC, right? So how the user, but here this is a diagram. So this is a diagram where the credentials are managed by single entity, like where these credentials, your credentials will be managed, right? Where IDP, identity provider, like this one. Okay, this one, SAML to identity provider. Okay, I guess you see my mouse or not, right? No, right, I guess. Mm,
Yes, Pranay.
okay, see minus. So this one, SAML to, do you have anything, any marker over here? No. So if you see this one, right, this one. Yeah, this one is like this credentials IDP, which where our credentials will be managed, right? So like you have your other user Forgerock, like so this IDP identity provider act as a IDP, right? So like for here Forgerock can be act as a identity provider. Okay, which can provide this SAML approach and concept, right? And where this one is work, this is called as service provider. Service provider where the applications will be authenticate your web, you are able to sign in application like in your company, your teams, or your learning portal. That will be all the service provider, right? Where you need to the provider for service means the where end user is trying to access the application, right? So this is the end user. So the end user, this is the end user. So end user will try to access this service provider and the authenticate here into the IDP. The IDP will help to try to authenticate, and then this IDP will create an assertion. So what is the assertion over here? What is the assertion over here? So assertion is a set of statements. So after the user authenticated, so they make a assertion which is the XML based format, right? So it's a like you can say it's a XML formatted token. So once it's assertion, they provide the assertion they provide in some XML. So when we test it, I'll show to you. So these assertions, what we say now, these assertions issued by EM, the identity provider, right? Where they have what will be on these assertions. In assertions, it will be like a piece of information for the user's profile or what the level of authentication have been performed. So that what the assertion contains, right? And then once it give this assertion all these thing to the service provider, okay, then it will confirm the authentication, ask for the authentication, confirm the authentication request. So that's why it becomes a circle. So where it's called the circle of trust, right? So when all this setup happens, when all this flow works perfectly fine, then it's called the SAML. And when the SAML and identity provider able to connect to each other, where IDP provide the assertion and SAML able to get the authenticated by the IDP, and this circle of trust has been formed, right? So where it says SAML provider, I told you. So the services are provided by SAML provider, like service provider, like which are the services, right? So what are the other applications which will be end user trying to sign in? So a circle of trust is a EM concepts that there's a we say and which have one at least one IDP and one at least one SP. So if I show you where the circle of trust, where the this identity provider and SAML, and where the applications we can create in SAML, right? So mm, okay, so yeah. So if I show you the go into the application and go into the federation. So you will see the circle of trust and the entity providers, right? So here, so why is called the federation as not a SAML? Because it's a like it does a federate the identities. Means federate the identities means where they can use the same identity for the other application. So where it's called for the federation. Earlier it was calling SAML over directly there, but now they have changed it to the federation identities. So it's a means it's currently referred to the federated entities as a system. So where user identities manage across multiple organizations. It's not even when the SAML two concepts not only work with your internal applications, it can also working with the external application which is outside your for organization as well. So that's we call here they call the cross domain single sign-on, right? If one is called the single sign-on domain, single sign-on because which is a limited your internal applications. When you need to when then you need to access the other applications with other organization, right, which is not in your company or something, then they comes on picture with the cross domain single sign-on. So with different domains as well, so they try to single sign-on, right? So that's why they come show these federation identities. So means you can allow the authentication for the multiple applications. So that's the term use of federation. So where I was talking about here in a diagram of trust, right? So this is the circle of trust. So here, if I show you the circle of trust, this is a circle of trust, like the group of identity and service providers. So here, whatever we have provide the service provider and identity provider, we can have the multiple identity providers and we can have the multiple service providers. It up to us how we can want to set up the system, right? So it's not should like we can have only one single identity provider. No, we can have the multiple identity provider. Like here, we can create one identity provider for Forgerock, and we can create another identity provider from another organization. And it's up to us. And we can have as many as service provider like application where we can have created as many as space. So that could help. So here, if you need to create a circle of trust, you need to give random. Like if I give EMCOT, so it will create a circle of trust. Currently, we don't have any entity providers here, so that's why it's showing blank. So okay, minimum requirement for circle of trust, right? If I over here, here I have created. So if I created over here identity provider, so there is a no entity provider. So where we need create a SAML. So here if I need to create and hosted one, right? So here this circle of trust is coming. But if I delete it from here, right? Initially, if I don't create it, delete the circle of trust and go to the entity provider. Okay. And if you see hosted, okay, so this one, if you see, I don't have any serious circle of trust, right? So this is the entity provider. So here, entity ID, we can create a we'll create it, but I just want to show you now. So what are these entity providers? If I create with any entity ID could be the any name or any URL as well. So it's up to us. Okay, it shouldn't be like any specific. If I need to create a google.com as an entity ID. So I want to as service provider, right? So I can do so. So alias I need to give to make sure it's a service provider or it's an entity provider, right? So if I create it, so this one, this is entity provider create. So it shows the SP. Okay. And it is having all these. We will discuss this one, what are major attributes of this one. But currently, first I want to give you a full picture of what are the SP providers, what are the IDP providers. So this is service provider. So it will be application where you are able to authenticate with your credentials, single set of credentials, right? So here we have created. Now, if you go to entity provider again, you will see this one is located, right? Hosted means it's a location. And if I go to the other identity provider, and if I give any entity ID like Forgerock, so which will be the IDP, right? So here I want to give the ID. So give the IDP of this one identity provider metadata. So it will create an IDP. So this IDP we have created, right? Okay. I'll discuss more. So this is IDP as we have created. And now if you go into the IDP, you see the IDP over here and SP over here. So you have seen we have given the alias over there, right? So if you see or come over there, you will see the meta alias. So this one we will use when we test this one. Okay. So in circle of trust now, there should be, now we have created one SP, one IDP. If I show you my diagram, I have created one IDP. Right, I'm the end user, so I can be the end user, right? And I have created one IDP, this SAML2 IDP. Now I have created this SP, Google.com, and this is SAML2 service provider, right? And I need a circle of trust in between them. So here, what I do, I'll create a circle of trust. You can give any name, that's fine. Okay. So like I'm give AM circle of trust. Create CRT. Now if you see status active, if you want to make active, if you make it active, then this circle of trust will be considered active if you make it inactive. So this circle of trust will be considered as inactive. Okay, now if you see here in Forgerock provider, you will see this is SAML to here is coming, right? Because we have all created this one. So you can add this. So we have add this SAML to service provider, right? So this is what I'm telling you how this one is created. Okay. So and to test it, we need to make more changes. Okay, so I'll show you as well, but I need to first go through the flow and everything. Okay, so that's what I was discussing about with you. So for the end user, what is the end user over here? The person who's attempting to access the resource application, right? So and in this Forgerock, the end user is often referred to as a subject. So that is a user agent, usually a web browser. So basically from a web browser, we'll hit the URL and we'll try to authenticate the SAML flow. So identity provider, I just showed you, the IDP is responsible for the authentication and users managing their account and issuing SAML assertions, right? So which authenticate your end user and issue the SAML assertion. Service provider, the service provider, the provider for the service or application that end user is trying to access, right? Any application you give, so like a google.com, you're trying to access the google.com, right? So that will be their service provider here. So which have a trust relationship. So it should be the trust relationship between the two, right? So this circle of trust will help to create the trust relationship between the ones we have updated. I've just created the name. We need to do more changes inside that. So when we test it, so then I'll show. Okay. So then user trying to access this one, trust, which enables user to rely on the assertion. So what's the one circle of trust? So the circle of trust is the AM concept that groups at least one IDP and one SP. So same we have done, which group have one IDP, IDP. It can have contain more. Even you can contain 100 of SAML applications and multiple IDP. Basically, IDP we can have only, usually we create one or two, three as per the client, because we won't rely on multiple ID. You can create as many as you want, but generally it will be created for by one or two or three, depends upon the client, right? If we have many applications and because one IDP can able to authenticate or provide assertion to multiple SPs, right? So even one IDP would be enough, but somehow we want to divide the workload, so we give some of the a link, some of the service provider to one IDP and some of the service provider to others. We can create multiple IDP. So basically, if we can create, we can have the as multiple one. Basically, in original product, there were SPs are more. Like 100, 200, 300 SPs are over there easily, and the IDP are, I guess, in a single digit, 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of that, which I have seen till in my career. So assertion. So assertion is a set of statements. So it's like a set of statement. I'll show you when we get the assertion how the assertion look like. So assertion will be look like the XML file, right? So is XML file contain all the users information and level of the authentication, right? So when we test this, I show you. So, okay, this is a SAML flow. So, like how the SAML flow will work. So, I have generally show you the flow once overview of the SAML, but how in actually this SAML flow this works, right? So, let's I create it for you that same. So, it's a same like this one, but it just more of for in detail format. Okay. So, how will it work? So, let me create a wet one. Okay. So I'll create one end user. So do you have any question till now what we have discussed for regarding this one?
No, Pranay, I need to understand more.
Okay.
So here two things, right? One is the service provider and another one is the IDP.
Yeah, right.
Who is giving the service? That is the service provider.
Yeah, no, service who is not giving the service, no, so that not the correct. So yeah, I mean, services are provided by service provider. Basically, uh, services means which application you want to authenticate. What is the Zoom over here, like we are using? So basically, Zoom is a service provider could be. So like it won't be the service provider because you are able to want to log into the Zoom, right? Somehow Zoom services are integrated with the with the Forgerock or with any identity provider, right? Then you if you need to go to the Zoom, you don't need to give the your credentials every time. Then Zoom will be the service provider. Zoom can't be the identity provider. Identity provider it will be the like Forgerock, who have your users information and you can authenticate, and who have all these concept that have been created in their background so that this flow can be worked on.
Okay.
Yeah. So here in our practice, the Forgerock will be the IDP, the identity provider. Okay. So service provider where we authenticate the applications. Like in OIDC, right? We are trying to authenticate the application and to creating the fetching the tokens and all, right? We can create as many as client we want, but how we are doing that with the help of the Forgerock. So there we are using the auth to provider services, right? So which help us to do all these things with the client and everything. Now here in SAML, they are doing the identity provider. We have. So we call it identity provider. In auth 2, we are calling the auth 2 provider. In SAML, we call the identity provider, ITP. Right, here Forgerock will be the ITP, which try to give the authenticate request and everything and doing everything. SP will be the application, and IDP will be the Forgerock or identity provider. Like, let me create a diagram, you will better understand. Okay. Yeah, so here this one will be, here will be the end user. The URL end user that gallery different color. So SD. So means any application you want to have, any application, like if you see any application, outside application, like any learning portal. It will be the application, learning portal application. Now one more if I create. Here it is the Forgerock. So here it will be the IDP, identity provider. In our practice, it will be the Forgerock. Right. The Forgerock AM will be the identity provider, right? So here, like you want to authenticate this learning portal application. Okay. Okay, now we have this one. Now, how do you how it start? So we counts the, so here if first we will be the unauthenticated user, like you are Rajiv and you have you are an unauthenticated user to access the service provider here. So yeah, okay. So you're trying to the attempt success. So you are an unauthenticated user, right? So you're just now authenticated. So this is the first. So unauthenticated user trying to user attempt to access the this learning portal, right? Now, how it will be getting authenticated, right? So now the SP determines the IDP associated with the end user and redirect the browser. So this is SP and this is currently attached with this IDP, the Forgerock key, right? If I show you this one with our example. So here learning portal, okay, I'll give instead of learning portal, I give the google.com, so you will understand. And google.com application, google.com. It could be any application, right? For IT. So here this one google.com. Then here your user trying to access this application, and then it will send then how the ASP determines it will associate it with which one. So with this as is associated with the Forgerock, right? So now it will so this one, it will redirect the user. So it will what will show here first before that one. So this one, it will redirect the user, right? The second attempt would be redirect the user. Redirect the user. So redirect the user from this to redirect the Rajiv to the IDP. And it will say, okay, go there and with the SAML authentication request. Okay. So then it sends this one. So then it goes to the AM. So then Forgerock AM authenticate the user. So then Forgerock AM, once after getting the SAML authentication request, it will authenticate the user. Authenticate the user, then it will authenticate the user. After authenticating the user, right, it will redirect the user to SP. Now after that, this user will be redirect with authenticate user. It includes some information, right? What artifact ID. I'll show you once we test what is the artifact ID. Artifact ID. So with artifact ID, right? So which what will be inside this artifact ID? This artifact ID will have the assertions or that XML with this artifact ID includes assertion. Okay, this assertion will be in an XML format. So it's right. If you will test it, so once I show you, so this assertions over here, and if I show you something over here, where this assertion, so if you go to the SP1, right, so this is request, and you go to the assertion processing, right, ordination adapter, and then this services. So you see assertion consumer service, right? So it's able to consume this assertion. So when this Forgerock send this one, so this is we get the assertion. So this IDP give the assertion, right? But SP able we need to consume the service. So now what we'll do? So what next step? So once this IDP gives this all this information, authenticate the user, and give the artifact ID includes assertion, right? Then this assertion will be sending to the this artifact ID will be sending to the service provided by end user. Okay. So then all this information will be sent to the service provider. Then it will redirect the user. User including all this artifact ID. And then in here, and then after your artifact ID, then it will exchange the artifact ID with this one and validate. So now after this is given, so it will check and it will validate. So here they will validate the will send, you can say exchange, send the artifact ID again, send the artifact ID to IDP. to confirm to validate the assertions. So that to confirm, right, this IDP only has provided this assertion. Okay. Validate the assertions. To validate the assertions. Okay. So then once it's validated, then authorized user and resources will provide. The end user will able to authenticate the application. Then user will be authorizing. Then user will be authorize the user. Get this. I think I'm just gonna run this. So after the get validating the assertions, it authorizes the user and provide the service. So user able to log in. So what full flow is coming? So this authenticated user, okay, attempt try to assemble the google.com. Okay, then this google.com redirect the user to with the SAML authentication request. Okay, so request would be something could be look like anything like this SAML I2 IDP. We will discuss that. Okay, like this, and SAML authentication request to the IDP. And then this IDP give authenticate the user and provide the artifact ID, okay, which includes the assertion. And then this once it redirect, so it redirect the user. Uh, this redirect the user with the assertion. This user first user will get all these details, and then it redirect the user with all this artifact ID. We'll see this artifact ID and all this in I got from IDP. Okay, then so SP will talk to the IDP. He'll send, okay, did you send this artifact ID? I need to validate. User has given me. Is validate the session. So if it's validated, once then it authorize the user, and then user will able to log in into the application. So all this flow will run at the backend. Okay. So in between we have a lot of things. So here, if you see, if I show you in actual SPNI one, so where this assertion consumer service. So assertion consumer service where they're able to consume the session service. That will this SP will see and check this assertion which I'm talking about. Okay. And okay, if I show you more in detail, this service is. So this artifact I'm talking about, so there's a multiple artifact over there. So if I should give you see over there, right? So if I click any of them default or add it one. So see if you see the binding. So we have these all these binding artifact, HTTP artifact, HTTP post, right? So we can use any of them. I'll tell you the difference as well. What's the difference between the HTTP for when we need to use the artifact binding, when we need to use to the post bindings, right? So basically different. So artifact binding where we don't share the response or user information, and a post when basically we need to transmit the SAML2 assertions to the client. Okay, so we'll test both for the HTTP post and HTTP artifact. So when we create SAML application over that. So let's first go through the attributes of this one. So this is the how the full flow for the SAML will work, right? And if I go to the SP provider SP1, so if you see, this is signing and encryption, right? What will be the request and response will be signed. So the authentication request signed, post response signed. It depends upon the what client asks us to. If the client they ask us to sign the authentication request, right? So we can sign it. Signed it means with any certificate it could be signed, right? You know the digital signature, right? That the digital signature be signed, so that it's like a digital signature of the SAML applications to make it more secure. Like they say and they get the authentication request and want to sign the authentication request. For the signing, they provide the certificate and say with this certificate you need to sign. Then you need to use this one because the assertion sign. Whatever the assertions created, like when IDP provide this assertion, like when IDP, where the diagram goes. So yeah, when IDP provide this assertion, like with artifact ID and everything, they want to sign. So this is all the these are the optional, right? It's not a mandatory, but if you need to want to these services, you just need to enable this one and it will work. The post response, what after the signature assign, what are the post response, then you need to sign it, right? Artifact response. Artifact response will be the user details and everything, logout requests and manage name ID. I'll discuss about them in name ID and this is the important concept in SAML. Okay, encryption, if you want to encrypt your attribute or you want to encrypt the assertion and secret ID and algorithms, if you want to use any signing algorithm, right? You need to sign in and you need to sign the algorithm. There are multiple algorithms they provide, right? So you can choose anyone which is required. Basically, mostly SHA-256 is being used by clients that has been widely used, SHA-256. And then if you want to use the encryption algorithm, you can use this name ID format, right? So what I was talking about, this name ID request sign. So this name ID format. So where how this name request will be authenticated with the what is persistent, transient, I'll discuss tomorrow, email address. So name ID format, like how the user will be authenticated with the which one? With the email address or with any name, right? With any unspecified, persistent, transient, right? So these are the name ID format list. Or you can give in here as well. So list of the name ID formats requested you choose. So this is name ID. I'll discuss with you in detail what is persistent and when we need to use persistent, when we need to use transient, when we need to use this email address and all. Okay, Kerberos is actually for the Windows Windows SSO. So use you what I was talking about initially, right? Giving you example. So that was a kind of the when you log in into the your computer and then you're able to log into multiple applications. That's basically called the Kerberos authentication, single sign-on. So Kerberos is almost related to the Windows single sign-on. Okay. And this is authentication context. This is, I guess, by default, we mostly use it for the context wrapper, right? Conversion, basic authentication. So if you enabled it, then it's fine. Otherwise, you can use it. You can keep it the same as well. So basic authentication, you can change it if you give the authentication with a particular username password, right? So then it will work with only for that authentication. Okay, and other assertion processing comes then this attribute mapper where they use auto federation, key on everything, account mapper. So what is the account mapper? They're using name ID as user ID. Okay, if you see the name ID from the assertion, when I show the assertion, then I'll show you what's the name ID and everything. So just going to this assertion mapping, let me show if I have any assertion information or SAML. How does a SAML assertion look like? So, clicking SAML to assertion.
Hello, Pranay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get out some example for the SAML assertion. Okay, so let me show you. So this could be like the SAML assertion, SAML. So when you authenticate, right? So the SAML assertion will be look like this. So it will be the issuer format, like who could be the issuer, like here could be the Salesforce, Salesforce.com, right? And would be the assertion ID, right? Signature, you want to sign the authentication, right? Would be the signature value, would be certificate. This name ID format, right? This name ID format, I'm using this unspecified. So if I show you over here, this name ID format, right? What I'm talking about this name ID format list, right? This is the name ID format, and unspecified means it could be anyone by name, user. So this will be the email ID. Okay, the name ID. Okay, then this one. So all this is the SAML. This is called code could be as a assertion, right? SAML assertion. This is called. This is how when you that the IDP provides. The IDP provides all this information to the service provider. Okay. Tomorrow we'll test this one. Okay. So when we test it now, we'll get the new one. You will see it. You will understand that. So this assertion. So when we test it now, you will able to see in a network logs that the assertion they fetch it. So then you will see who will be the issuer, what the session ID, right? What the name ID format. So tomorrow, basically, we will test this application and how this ML assertion. So how we'll do the testing part. So basically, how this assertion Markham, this language look like. Okay. Did you understand the concept of the SAML? So what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Once we test it now, so once we run the commands, then you will understand more. Okay.
Okay.
Today we
Okay.
have only time to go through the SAML, what's the SAML definition of it, what's the flow of it, right? So my main aim to make you understand what are the IDP, what are the service provider, what are the assertion, right? And how, where we